Now with that knowledge, I am drawing a square of 1 unit. So we have 1 unit. Now, because of the size of square are equal, we have this to be 1, this is 1, and this is also 1. Now, we'll be drawing a diagonal to divide the square into 2 equal parts. So we have this becomes 1, this is also 1, this is our rectangle, and this here is 45. Why? 90 divided by 2 equal parts is 45 degrees. So with this now, you should have an idea that we are looking for the trig ratios of angle 45. So these trig ratios, before we go into it, we have the name that we call each of the sides of this triangle. This here is the longest of them all. So it is called the hypotenuse. This here that is opposite the angle is called the opposite side. And this is definitely the adjacent side. Alright, with this now, we can look for the value of the hypotenuse side. And there is a method that we can use to do that. The formula says hypotenuse square is always equal to opposite square plus adjacent. The opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of square is also square root. So here now we have hypotenuse square, but we are looking for the hypotenuse only, not the hypotenuse square. So what do? We remove that square by taking it to the other side, and it becomes a square root. Hypotenuse equal to the square root of opposite square plus adjacent square. This becomes, our opposite is 1, so we have 1 square plus our adjacent is also 1 square. Hypotenuse equals to the root of 1 square is 1, so we have it here, plus 1 square again is 1. Hypotenuse equal to 1 plus 1 is 2, so we have root 2 here. The next thing to do, now that we have all our sides ready, is to bring in the knowledge of so, ka, twa. So, ka, and twa. So, here we have sine theta, which will now be sine 45. Being equal to opposite over hypotenuse. And what is our opposite? 1 over hypotenuse, root 2. So we have sine 45 to be this. Also, our cos 45 degree equals to A stands for adjacent and H stands for hypotenuse. To now be equal to adjacent is 1 all over hypotenuse, which is root 2. Our tan is also this, opposite over adjacent, being equal to 1 over 1. And 1 divided by 1 is what? 1. So we have our tan 45 to be 1. I believe we all understand this. Now, let's go on and move to the sines, cos, and tan of 30 degree and 60 degree. How do we start this? Now, we'll be drawing an equilateral triangle. This is it. What equilateral triangle, all the sides are equal. So we have an equilateral triangle with 2 units. So this is 2 and this is also 2. Now, the angles of an equilateral triangle all sums up to 180 degrees. So that means that this is 60 degrees, this is 60 degrees, and this is also 60 degrees. Alright, we can also draw a straight line in the center of this. So we have a straight line that divides it. And when a straight line divides this into 2 equal parts, 2 divided by the 2 equal parts is 1. This means that this has become 1 and this has also become 1. So let's draw it out. Alright, starting with dealing with angle 60. Here is the opposite. We have this angle here, so here is the opposite. So we have the opposite, the hypotenuse, which is 2 units, and we have this as the adjacent, which is 1 unit. However, we do not know what the opposite is. So we can make use of our formula, which says that hypotenuse square is equals to opposite square plus adjacent square. Focus is the opposite. How can we get opposites to be subject of formula? How can we get our opposite to become the subject of formula? So we have that hypotenuse square. Now opposite square is here plus adjacent square. We can carry this plus here over the equal to sign and it becomes minus adjacent square equals to opposite square. This square can also be carried over to this side and it becomes a square root. So we have the square root of hypotenuse square minus adjacent square to be equals to opposite. So since we have the information of adjacent to be 1 and our hypotenuse is 2, let's do this together. Hypotenuse is 2, so we have 2 square minus adjacent is 1, so we have 1 square equals to opposite. 2 square is 4, so we have 4 minus 1 square is 1, so we have 4 minus 1 equals to opposite. Therefore, this implies that our opposite is equal to 4 minus 1 is 3. So our opposite is root 3 in this case. Now we can further move on to our for angle 60 degree. So we have sine 60 to be equal to opposite over hypotenuse, and that is equal to the root of 3 all over our hypotenuse 2. What about our cos? Cos 60 is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, which then gives us 1 over our hypotenuse, which is 2. Our tan 60 is equal to opposite over adjacent, which becomes root 3 all over 1. However, root 3 divided by 1 still remains root 3. So we will write that there. And that is that for our angle of 60. Moving on to the angle of 30. How do we get our angle of 30? Back to the equilateral triangle. We have divided This means that 60 divided by 2 equal parts, this becomes 30 and this also becomes 30. So let's draw it out. This is our 1, this is our 2, and this here is 30 degrees. Now, our focus is this angle 30 degrees, and this is facing this place. So this is our opposite now. It has become our what? Opposite now. And this here becomes the adjacent. Remember, we got the value of this side in this place and it is √3. Just that the name has changed. So we have √3 to be our adjacent. With all this information, we can introduce our so, car, and toi. So we have sin 30 to be equal to opposite over hypotenuse, which gives 1/2. Our cos 30 to be adjacent over hypotenuse, which gives √3/2. Tan 30, which is opposite over adjacent and gives us 1/√3. Here are the values